Hello friends, Mandar here. I am back with another video. Today let's talk about a new bill or the act that is being brought to the floor or the house by Congresswoman Deborah Ross. This bill is called America's Children's Act and it has to do with removing the aging out effect for documented dreamers. As you know, a lot of immigrants who have come here on non-immigrant visas such as H1, L1 and others, and who have been waiting for the green card for a long time, their children are on their petitions as well. And as you know, because of the length of the time that it takes for the green card to be approved, especially for the backlog countries, these children have the risk of aging out, which means once they turn age of 21 years old, they can no longer be on the parents' green card application and they have to be on their own. Sometimes this is forced deportation for these children. So let's talk about what are the components of this act, and there is a youth-led advocacy group that has really made this happen. They met with the congressmen and senators. They went to the Washington DC. The group is called Improve the Dream, and I'm going to talk about them as well. So if you are interested in this topic, watch this video until the end and let's get started. So let's look at the background. So there are about 200,000 youths and adults now that they are into adults. They came here as children. So they came here with their parents when they were little. So basically similar to the undocumented immigrants that the Biden administration is creating a pathway to such permanent residency. So these people, they came along with their parents in a legal way. They came on a visa which is H1, L1, E2 or any other visa that would allow them to come to the country. So now their parents applied for their green cards. They do good jobs in tech sector or in IT or in very high skilled jobs, and they are in the process of their green card. But unfortunately, because of some of the backlog countries such as India and China, sometimes this timeline could be 5 or 10 years as well. During this time, if their children turn 21, as per the current rules, they cannot stay on their parents' application and they have to find their own non-immigrant visa such as L1, H1 or whatever, or worse, they will have to leave the country or self-deport. So it is very difficult for these legal dreamers who have come with their parents to live here and they have studied here. They have never seen any other country in their life, and now they have to self-deport because of this rule. There is something called Child Status Protection Act, but it does not help a vast majority of the people. They only help a very fraction of the total number of applicants in this category. So let's look at what this bill does. And before we go into the bill, I would like to mention that there is an organization which is a youth-led organization by Deep Patel, which is called Improve the Dream, and it is an advocacy group that kind of brings awareness to this issue that is prevalent in the backlog countries.
Awaiting a vote soon in the House of Representatives on legislation to provide a path to citizenship for young people who came to the country with their parents. But the law does not apply to some young adults who are now facing deportation from the country in which they grew up. Correspondent David Spunt explains.
When I think of America, I think of home.
Deep Patel is a proud American who may soon have to leave this country. While he's a legal immigrant, that status was temporary from day one.
This is the country I've been in for the last 15 years. This is where my friends are. This is where my family is.
He was born in India, but came to the U.S. as a dependent in 2005 from Canada on his parents' E2 treaty investor visa. The United States grants the visa to people from more than 70 countries if they come to the United States and invest in a business. Children can live off the visa until they're 21. Patel is 23.
Basically about 200,000 youths who are on the long-term visa and who were on their parents' application are facing this impact of aging out. Despite having a valid status from the day one since they entered the country. They have never been out of status, they have never done anything illegal, but they are still facing this self-deportation situation because of these rules. So this group Improve the Dream, led by Deep Patel, is a youth organization, and they have actually brought this issue to the Congress. They actually went to the Washington DC and met with all the senators and congressmen to actually raise this awareness, and now we finally have somebody who has taken this to the House floor. So let's look at what this bill is about. So as you can see on this website of Congresswoman Deborah Ross, she is representing North Carolina's 2nd district, and she's the one along with Krishnamurti, Miller Meeks and they all together introduced this bipartisan America's Children Act. Now, America's Children Act, this came in just today, July 1st. So, this is America's Children Act would protect documented dreamers from aging out of legal immigration status at 21. As I explained, these children came along with their parents at a very tender age. They have never been out of status. They have never been undocumented. They have always maintained their status. They studied here. They studied here in the US universities, and now they are contributing to the US economy. And just because of the mere fact of a loophole in our legal system which removes them from their parents' green card application, now they have to fend for themselves. Well, fending at the age of 21 is okay when you have control on your life, where you can find a job and things like that. But this visa situation really puts them into a very bad situation where they sometimes have to deport themselves. So as you can see below, here are the few advocacy groups. The first one is Deep Patel, founder of Improve the Dream, and then the second, Neil Makhija, executive director at Impact, and so on. There are few other groups that they actually met the congressmen and senators at in Washington DC, and they actually advocated from removing this scenario for these aging out children. Now let's look at what this bill specifically does. It provides a pathway to permanent residency for individuals who were brought to the United States as dependent children of workers admitted under approved employer petition, have maintained their status in the United States for 10 plus years, including 4 years as dependent, and have graduated from an institution of higher education. So it clearly outlines the parameter who this bill applies to. Who are these documented dreamers? So they should have been living in the United States, brought in as a children, living in the United States for at least 10 years, and being dependent at least for 4 years on their parents, and also have graduated from institutions within the United States. So that is the kind of parameters. The second one is establishes age out protection that lock in child's age on the date on which they file for green card rather than the final action date. So which is very key, because this date when they file for their green card could have been decades back. So their age is locked in for the purpose of processing this 485 application, which is adjustment of status. So this is really important. This basically will remove them from aging out scenario. And then the third one is provide work authorization for documented dreamers over the age of 16 whose green card applications are pending. This is obviously anybody who is in the adjustment of status or green card application knows that they will get an EAD to fend for themselves and to work so that they can survive with legal status while their green card application is pending. So it's only fair for these kids or these youths to get an EAD while they are waiting once they turn 16. So the full text of this bill can be found in this link, but it really goes into the further details of what this bill is all about. So this America's Children's Act is really very important in my opinion, because these children have come at a tender age. They have studied here, and they are contributing to the economy by doing the jobs here. Now most of these youths are in STEM programs, so they are in the science, technology and engineering and mathematics. So they are in the STEM stream, which are high paying jobs and which are really the kind of people that America needs for their next generation. So this America's Children's Act will provide them a pathway to permanent residency and citizenship, because these children have never seen anything outside of the United States, and they have made their life here, they have studied here, and they are contributing to the economy. So that's all I wanted to say in this video. Now the next process would be this bill will be taken to the House, and it will since this is a bipartisan bill, it has a great likelihood of passing in the House, which will then it will go to the Senate. It will have their own hearing and their own voting, based upon which it will go to the president for signature. So that is the typical process when a new bill comes to the floor. So that's all the information that I wanted to give out of this video. So if you like this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel, and I will see you in the next one.